So I'm really excited to have this time with you because we obviously think a lot in the same way, and I've heard about you and Heal and your real commitment to this process is really impressive. And your name always comes up in just conversations that I have with people. And when I heard that, oh, wow, yes, I would love to spend some time with her. So this is great. This is a treat for me. And I think my first question is, I'm sure it's the obvious first question people always ask you. It's like, what was the inspiration? Like, what in your childhood? This is so deep. This is way in your childhood. What was it that got you to, this is a passion. This isn't sort of, I'm going to take this up in college or do some trick with it. So what was it?
Well, so many things, but I think my answer is more like spiritual than ever. I've just always had this like curiosity and knowing, like I've just had this like insatiable, I just like want to understand how everything works in the world and our bodies. And I've always had this sense of like what's out in the cosmos is also going on in our body. And, but I didn't have the information to articulate it. And then just various things along life's way. I got sick in high school, just like a normal flu-like situation. And when I healed, my glands were swollen they wouldn't go down. So I went to every doctor, they threw every antibiotic at it. At the time, we didn't know. We just did what the doctor said. And nothing was bringing my glands down. So eventually they did a lymph node biopsy, like put me under general anesthesia.
Oh, wow.
I know, it was crazy. And results were benign. They didn't know what it was. And so I went with my mother to her chiropractic appointment, and he felt my glands and he said, I think your just lymph system is backed up and we just need to get it more alkaline or whatever. So he said, take some apple cider vinegar, 2 shots a day, one in the morning, one in the evening, kind of gargle it. And then we'll see how that goes. And 6 days later, after, months of antibiotics and major surgery, the glands cleared up. And I think that was the first seed planted where I was like, maybe there is a more natural way to do things,
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Yeah.
it just goes on, but it's been that seeking of understanding how everything works on a universals and then down to our body has
Mm-hmm.
always been with me.
Have you ever thought anywhere in these sort of learning episodes that maybe you should have taken medicine?
To
Or
meaning,
well, I mean, I know for me, I if I wasn't doing this, I might, because I'm such a curiosity about health and trying to understand, that I thought, is it too late for me at 80 to take a course in medicine and like spend, I don't know how many years? And then I thought, well, I don't think I can. But I wonder if you've ever thought about it.
I never ever wanted to be a doctor. I was more interested in like philosophy and psychology. So for me, it's more, that's why kind of Heal is about the mind body connection, how our thoughts and our beliefs and our emotions affect the physical. So I like to kind of live in the realm of mind and heart.
Mind, body, yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that I think studying medicine is maybe not the most effective path right now, because, like you said, there's apple cider vinegar. There are these other things that should be looked at holistically, not just a way through medicine. And I've collected a great number of amazing doctors who are specialists in different areas and who are really quite good, or there are scientists who research stem cell and things like that. And it shows you that the ones that are doing the best work are the ones that, like you, that are thinking about the psychology of it, the overall effect on the body. What's the biggest influence, do you think, on our culture now for health and longevity and, preventative medicine, the obvious? What do you think is the thing right now that we should be thinking about?
I mean, to me, it's always going back to nature. We've have amazing technology and crazy advancements in the last 150 years. But now but it's kind of taken us out of the rhythms of nature,
Yeah.
And I think all answers lie in nature. We are part of nature. We are designed perfectly. Nature is designed perfectly. It will thrive on its own if left to its own kind of rhythm. We're obviously getting in the way of the planet's own
Mm-hmm.
process and our own. So I think the key is always going back to nature. There's ancient wisdoms in these herbs that have been around for thousands and thousands of years that are super effective. And the key is really always so simple and right in front of us. And it's just getting back in touch with food that's grown in the ground, that's not, attacked with chemicals, and really just eat close to nature, eat local, in season, get sunshine in the morning, turn off your screens at night, get back into that circadian rhythm, clean water, spend time in nature in that quiet harmonic resonance that nature provides. And that's it. And I think we're at a point where we can combine technology with nature and not have it fight each other. So hopefully that's where we head next.
Yeah. I think it always starts with children and how early they pick up habits that become their lifestyle and the way then they raise their children. What what uh, what advice do you have for parents now, especially at a time where social media and so many other things have just in the last 5 years have just gone way off the charts? What do you, just since you did your film, right? What, since your film, would you say to anyone who's responsible for a young child or raising children?
Yeah. I think the key is learning about ourselves and how we work, and learning to regulate our nervous system. We're never taught these basic fundamental things. And so kids are so dysregulated because parents are so dysregulated. And, parenting, I have a 5.5-year-old, so I'm in it right now and learning everything I can as fast as I can. But parenting is an opportunity to reparent ourselves. None of us had perfect parents. We're not going to be the perfect
Right.
parents. I truly believe that every human gets exactly the experience and exposure that they need. But the key is to learn as much as we can about ourselves and how our systems work so that we can regulate ourselves. And then we model for our children how to, life is going to throw curveballs at us all the time. But if we can learn to regulate our system, be still, increase our capacity for stress and life and the speed at which we're all going right now, that is just crazy, then we can model, and our kids just soak that up. They're just getting programmed from their
Mm,
environment, So I think parenting is all about reparenting ourselves so that we can model a healthier way for our kids.
yeah, that's so true. I mean, you can talk yourself silly, but if you're not doing it, who's going to pay attention? So, in my company, we have this great space, which you're always welcome to come to, and we do at 12 noon. We do workouts. We have different trainers come in, and on Wednesdays, where we do meditation, various types of meditation. And, I'm at my age, I remember the 70s when everybody got a mantra. And I really was very lucky that I got into it with without a lot of effort, and it's always been a comfort zone for me. So through the years at work, if things were getting tough, I'd go into the bathroom, turn on the water, and just stay in there and like meditate until I got over, and then come back out. And now a lot of people hear about meditation, talk about it, but don't actually practice it. So I've noticed that I'm getting comments from my staff saying something happened yesterday. I just started crying during meditation, or something happened and I felt like I was floating away. And I was like, oh my God, this is so good. I didn't, I can't predict, but I think that these habits can be developed, but it's really hard when we're so overstimulated with so much. What are your thoughts? I mean, what ideas do you have to kind of like mitigate the stress and the constant sort of battle that everybody's having around and not getting caught up in it?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say how cool you are and what a great culture you've created and how lucky people are to be in that environment and that because you're modeling a different
Mm.
way of running a company and that's so cool. Giving your people that experience. I would say really simplify it, like knowing the pace of life that is not sustainable and the stimulation that we're getting from social media and 24-hour news cycles. And it's just way too much information. So rather than think of meditation of like, you know, Indians in an ashram
Mm.
sitting there and suffering in a cave or whatever, the modern day is just understanding our brains are not meant to handle this much information. And so literally we just need to take one or two or however many times you need per day to turn off all that stimulation and reconnect to yourself. So it's not about quieting your mind. That's kind of an impossible thing
Yeah.
to do. It's
Don't
about
tell me quieting your mind, right? It's like that doesn't go over very well.
exactly. And for like high achievers and people in New York, and it's like it's just going to be an impossible thing for them to think that they can do. So it's really about turning off the stimulation, closing your eyes, reconnecting to your breath, and just calming the system down. And it's a practice. It's a practice that we're going to have to go, our whole life. And it's a tool to regulate ourselves. And also on this bigger spiritual plane, the more you connect with yourself, the more you practice this just centering, turning off the stimulation, getting into quiet and stillness, all of a sudden you're creating space for your truth, your highest guidance, your spirit, whatever you want to call it, your intuition will come through and start to communicate with you. And also, Marianne Williamson talks about it as like mental hygiene. We shower our physical bodies off with water to clean the gunk that we collect. We need to do that with our mental body as well. So it's just allowing ourselves a couple times a day or 3 times a day, whatever we need, to do that mental hygiene and just release all that tension by just turning within and cutting off
Mm.
that stimulation. And so the more we practice, I mean, that's why Heal came to be, because I started learning to meditate and I just started
Mm.
learning and connecting with myself. And then all of a sudden inspiration and downloads and guidance comes. And then all of a sudden you're doing your life's work because you've created space for that to come through.
Another thing I find really helpful is sometimes I suggest to, especially younger people, like 20s, 30s, do this with a friend, do it with 3 friends, do it with 6 friends. do it as something you do together. Like you go to the gym together. So if you do it, you have lunch, you're going to go out to lunch, maybe all get together and just do this meditation together. And there's something about the vibration. Well, this is a Marianne Williamson thing, right? The more people that are doing it, the more the more you feel the energy, which is why I think the people in my company are feeling it, is because there's so many of us doing it together. I feel the difference. I really feel the energy, and usually they always push me up front, so I'm like they're behind me, and I can feel it behind me, and it's really powerful. But Marianne Williamson has been saying this for decades, and she's so right.
Yes. And Joe Dispenza is showing this, and I've gone to his advanced retreats, and there's 2,000 people in the room meditating. And when I first learned meditation, I was taught transcendental meditation where you're given a mantra. And there was three of us taking the class every morning and our teacher. And I just remember you truly feel where there's more people, that field is amplified, and they measure this. And it's just when all of that, everybody's getting in a coherent state, whether it's 2 people, 3 people, or 2,000 people.
Yeah.
It just amplifies the energy of the room, and we attune to that energy, and it just releases so much vitality in the body and coherence in the brain and heart, which everything's possible when your brain and heart are incoherent.
Right. And it is a form of exercise in a way too. So just talking about exercise, what's your kind of program for exercise? What do you do?
I do whatever I can at the moment. But sweat is like a medicine for me. So I do the Peloton, because that's kind of just something I can hop on and get 30 to 45 minutes of guaranteed sweat and listen to music. I love yoga and Pilates. I think Pilates like really changed my physical body and made me kind of leaner and more structurally sound, you know? And then yoga, just if I start to feel sick, like yoga to me is medicine as well. And I used to be a runner. I just ran the New York Marathon in November.
Oh my goodness.
But running to me is very therapeutic too. It clears my mind. So I look at exercise literally just as medicine. I don't, I'm just at a point, and I'm very blessed that I don't think about it as much like staying in shape. It's just like I have to move my body to clear my mind and, sweat.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's like you get hungry. It's time to exercise, and it's really incredible. I too, I love yoga because your mind and your body and your breath, all of that is just incredible. When it's all working, it's really fantastic. And we have. I don't know if you've ever heard of Physique 57, but it's so we have the trainers from Physique 57 come in, and because everybody here has done it for some time, it's pretty advanced and it's really fantastic. And it's a great workout. It's really fantastic.
You just feel so much better. Like you release endorphins, and then the body's on morphine.
and you see your body, your legs, you see that there's a difference in how strong you are and body weight and weights. I mean, everybody's talking about weights, increasing weights, but I think the fact that you're using your body weight is pretty significant too.
Totally. Again, aligned with nature. It's like use what's given to you. And it's kind of the perfect balance, right?
Yeah. I remember meeting this woman years ago through Andrew Weil, who used to have these conferences in Arizona. And there was a woman who was Native American, and she was a medicine woman. And she always had amazing sort of remedies from plants. It was just all plants. And so I think that type of medicine is due to be a part of our lives again. Do you know what I mean? I think,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, and a lot of people, if I asked the same question that I asked you, would talk about some trendy thing, and you just said it's in the earth. It's because that's actually, I believe, really where it is. As long as we protect the planet and don't poison it and kind of
Exactly.
respect it, the all of the medicine, whether it's in food or like she would just come up with these genius, simple things that really worked. Do you have any um, go-tos that you use for yourself or your child or your husband when it comes to it's like there's an ailment here. This will take care of it, and it's not the typical here's a Tylenol.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I mean, every morning we have lemon water and I put salt, like pink salt in mine. So I just flush the body with kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
elixir that wakes up, the organ systems and kind of detoxes and flushes out. Um, I try to do a lot of homeopathic stuff when she's sick. So my daughter just had the flu. I've learned again, nature. So when we have a virus, our body or an infection, our body goes into fever. And in Western culture, we suppress the fever, which is the body's way of healing. And so when I learned early on that fevers have a very important function, I asked my doctor, who's very holistic, and my pediatrician, and he broke it down for me, like what levels of fever you should treat. And my daughter has kind of seen how I hold space for her and like what I give her when she's sick. So she had the flu right before this trip a few days ago, and she got it. She woke up Saturday morning with a fever, and I give her with the flu. I love how do you say it? Oxylococcinum. It's a homeopathic. You eat these pellets.
Right, the little tank. Yes, I know
Yeah,
them. Yeah.
and I think it like knocks out the flu in half the time. So my protocol for her was the pellets, lots of rest, and just monitor the fever. So I never gave her anything to suppress the fever. My doctor said if she's in pain, if she's complaining of a headache or she can't sleep, then you can give her, you know, Genexa version of Tylenol or whatever. But her fever was going between 102 and 103, and I just gave her the homeopathics and kept checking in with her, and she was fine. And we just rested. I had an energy healer work on her from a distance. Who knows what that works, but I just want to
why
throw
not?
that in there, you know?
I'm a big one. You know what?
Yeah.
Why
And
not? Why
why
not?
not? Why not? And by Monday morning, she was 100%. She kind of turned the corner Sunday. So it was a 48-hour bout. And all I gave her was kind of
Right.
fluids and rest and the homeopathics. So,
Yeah, I mean, the rest part of it is so significant, right? The sleep
mm-hmm,
is just best healer.
mm-hmm,
And sleep, obviously, as you know, everybody has so many issues with, and I guess we all do at some time in our lives where we're like, oh my God, I used to sleep every night so easily. What's happening to me now? And like, then you have to try to figure it out and what can produce a good night's sleep. Do you have any secrets that you could share? Because I will say, I think that's the biggest mystery right now because we're all so different and we're all chemically, spiritually, our lives are so different. And you can't recommend, but a tea that works for me may not work for my husband, and
mm-hmm.
which it
Yeah,
doesn't.
totally.
So, what are your thoughts?
It is the big mystery right now because I think you nailed it. Like everybody is so different and everybody's environments are different. So there isn't one side. I've like tried different gummies and some of them have melatonin, some of them don't, some of them
Yeah,
have
yeah,
CBD. I've tried it all. And right now I'm kind of just taking magnesium. And as for me, because I'm such a like fire energy, if I work out really hard and hydrate and like get off my phone or any screen like an hour before bed, I usually sleep really well. I'll get up once per night and then I'll sleep. 7.5 hours or something, which
Yeah.
is a drink.
Yeah.
If I, so I think and then I have friends that are going through perimenopause or menopause, and they're just like, I have insomnia. So the hormones really mess it up too. So I wish I had an easy answer for you, but it's just people keep needing to try.
Mm.
But definitely like the screens and the blue light and like really getting into the circadian rhythms,
Mm.
going to bed. I'm a morning person, so it's easy for
Me
me to
too.
say,
Me too.
but like I get to bed, by 9 o'clock every
Oh,
night and
me too. I can't
wake up
even,
at 5.
yeah.
Yeah,
I can easily go to bed at 8 o'clock, but
me too.
I try not
Me
to.
too.
It's like, what are you doing? And the idea of getting involved in a movie that has violence in it before you go to bed, it's like, I can't do this. This is not going to work for me.
Totally.
But I do think the sleep issue is really a big one, and I agree with you. Working out is so helpful for me, but then if you try to be social, which
I
means
know.
people like to go out to dinner, and it's like, oh no,
I know. It's
I want
so
to go
hard.
to bed.
I know. And
So
I still enjoy wine, and that's like a sleep killer, and it's so
yeah,
you just have to
that's a hard one.
uh,
And with menopause and perimenopause, um the the conversations and the uh actual use of HRT is still unbelievably very controversial for so many people, because we're, again, all so different. And I have an interesting story. So I've been taking a hormone patch since I'm 45, and
yeah.
it's actually worked for me and been fantastic. And so I, of course, like to sweat. I think it's helpful for me too. I don't need to sweat for a long time, but I like to sweat. And so I really love saunas. I have an infrared sauna,
Hmm.
and I love it. I love working out, going to sauna, the whole thing. Drink a lot of water, and I'm good. And then all of a sudden, I started to have these crazy symptoms of, night sweats and all kinds of things. Well, what was happening is, and I want to share this information with you and everyone, is that for people who have now gotten into the sauna phase, if you have a patch, the sauna dries out the patch, and it doesn't give put any of the hormone that you
Cute.
need. And so what happened was my hormone level went to zero, and I was spiking, blood pressure spiking, everything. Couldn't figure out what it was. Like you, was prescribed all kinds of blood pressure medicine. My blood pressure's always been low, until my acupuncture doctor said, could you just have your hormones checked?
Yeah.
And that's how we found out. So there's so many things to deal with when you're going through menopause, and obviously drinking any wine or any alcohol is like murderous. But
Hmm.
if you are into sweating and the patch is slipping around or drying out, this is a heads up to, please pass that along for anybody that
Yeah.
it was dangerous, first of all, because spiking that much, my blood pressure went up to 207. Can
Wow.
you
Oh my
imagine?
gosh.
Yeah.
No. That's
So,
terrifying.
but I do think the idea of sweating. Why do you? What is the best result of sweating? What all happens with that?
I mean, I think, not being a total expert, I feel like it's just detoxing. It's your way, one of my favorite quotes is salt water cures everything, tears, sweat, and the ocean. I just,
That's true. Yeah,
and
that's a good one.
yeah. So it's just again, it's our body's way of cleansing, and we're now living in this kind of invisible toxic soup. And so the healthiest people are going to have that constant detox pathway flushing through, which, sweat is a big, our breath actually too. So breath work, we actually, I think, eliminate like 75% of our toxins through our respiration. So
Oh, I didn't know
I,
that.
I didn't either. It's a
Wow.
wild, I need to be accurate. Don't quote me on that, but it's
Hmm.
something that's like enough to go, really? Wow. So breath work is really, so whether you're doing
Yeah.
yoga or just, Wim Hof or whatever it
Hmm.
is, it's really effective at detoxing as well.
Yeah, it really is. So if you were to prepare a meal for friends that you feel would not only be healthy, taste great, but would make people feel good. You know that the
Hmm.
difference of different kinds of foods make you feel really good. What would that meal be?
Oh my gosh, this is a great question. I've never been asked. People always ask me to share what I eat, and I'm like, I still eat like a kindergartner sometimes, but I consider myself a qualitarian. So just like fresh foods, not a lot of preservatives, chemicals. So off the top of my head, I would cook wild caught salmon because it's so good for the brain, the omega-3s. I would cook vegetables like asparagus and broccoli are my two favorites. So some sort of like mash of that, or
Oh,
hash of that,
oh,
like,
great.
yeah, with a little spice. I like a little
Hmm.
spice. And then I would actually maybe do like some sort of like really healthy penne, like a fresh made pasta with, some sort of like tomato, really good tomato, garlic, basil, oregano sauce, just as like a side, like a small
Hmm.
portion. Because I just think Italian food is,
It
makes
is
me,
pretty good.
it's
Yes.
delicious. So I like that, like a little bit of everything, a taste of everything. But for
Mm,
me, that it's because that would fill you up, the protein, the vegetables, and then you get a little bit of like some sort of hearty, fresh made pasta that
mm.
warms the soul
And
as a side.
what would you have for dessert?
Oh gosh. I mean, if you want to be healthy, like berries, but I'm like a sucker for gelato. So like just a small scoop of like just really clean, simple
Hmm.
ingredient Italian gelato.
I started to come up with these, and I'm not really a great cook because I'm like you. It's pretty simple for me,
Hmm.
um, and I like to cut up things and just put a whole bunch of things together that have texture. But I started because sweet potatoes are
Mm.
something that I like to play around with. I made sweet potato ice cream, and um, and so I was very excited because I thought this sweet, it tastes great, and then I had little fresh blueberries with it, so the color was pretty, and so my husband's grandkids came over and I said, "Oh my God, I have the best surprise for you." Sweet potato ice cream. They were like, "Oh, okay." And they wouldn't eat it.
Ah,
They
that
wouldn't
sounds
touch it.
delicious. Yeah.
It was so delicious and so easy to do. You bake the potato, you whip it up, you can, if you want, you could put a little honey so it makes it even more, and just like texture with crumbled nuts and maybe a
Oh my
little
gosh.
cinnamon, and then you put it in the freezer and it's like gelato.
Oh my
It's
gosh. Yes.
crazy. It's so easy and so good. But they had wanted nothing to do with it. And I think the fault was I said it was sweet potatoes.
Yeah. If they didn't know, they would have
I
eaten it and gone,
screwed
this
it
is
up. I was
delicious.
like,
Yeah.
what did I do? Why did I do that? And
That's amazing.
now when they come over, it's like every time I have something, it's what vegetable is this dessert?
That's so funny. But there's so
But
many creative things you can do that are healthy
yeah,
versions of
yeah.
gelato. I'm like chasing a 5-year-old, so I'm just like, okay, have the gelato.
So
I've
yeah,
given
no,
up. I'm being creative, but
I think the biggest challenge, especially when kids are that age. First of all, it's the cutest age in the whole time. I mean, between 5 and like 9, I just think that's the best.
And Riley is a fashionista. I mean, it
Oh,
is
you're
her
kidding.
passion. Oh my gosh, she would be like floored
You're
that I was talking with
kidding.
you today. Yeah.
See, that's the interesting thing, because I think at like age 6, let's say, I've noticed that that's when we're the purest. We don't have these influences, mother influence, of course, but we don't yet have these influences that either embarrass us or make us shy or do all of that. We're just like, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I I did a podcast with Marty's granddaughter when she was 6, and she was just brilliant, so expressive. I asked her what she was going to do, and was she going to when was she going to get married and have kids? She thought about it. She said, "Oh, I'm not getting married. I'm not having kids. I have to find myself first." And I said, "Where does a 6-year-old get that?" And her mother is nothing like that. Her mother loves kids, wants to have it. It's like a completely what?
I know.
And so it's so good that it's recorded, because she listens to it now and she says, I can't believe I was that person. She's so affected by the other girls and all of that. So it might be a good time for you to do a little every once in a while, sit down and just have a talk with your phone on and save it. It's total magic, because that age, she probably in some way will have something to do with fashion or style, because this is pure, right?
It is. She literally went to preschool and told her teacher, "I'm not allergic to anything except for bad fashion."
Oh my
like,
God.
Where did she get this? Isn't that funny?
You're kidding.
Yeah, it's wild.
That is so funny.
I know.
Wow. That's really fantastic. Do you live in Hawaii year round, or do you?
No, I'm just visiting for spring break. We live in LA. We live in Los Angeles.
Okay.
But my daughter's actually in New York right now.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, anyway, that is really a great story. It'll be interesting to see how she sort of manifests who she is, and then your influence on her, right? Like you said, you're just doing what you feel you should be doing.
Yeah.
And so the teaching part of what you do, how are you passing this along? I mean, you have your film, you have all of these things, but what do you think is the most effective way to communicate your story and what you do?
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because before I did Heal, I'd done like astrological readings, but now recently I've done astrology and human design. And as you learn more about yourself, like everything in my charts say that I'm meant to be in like the healing world, which I did not know before I did this documentary. And I'm meant to learn by experience and then share what I learn. I'm not supposed to be like a hands-on healer, which is probably why I had no interest in medicine.
Yeah.
And so I have a podcast, which just continues the conversation. And I'm in the process right now of creating a docuseries that's all about the nervous system and emotions and giving people kind of the manual of how to be human and how to take ownership or kind of control of the wheel as you grow older and you aren't a child anymore that has to be in survival in certain ways and develops these defense mechanisms or gifts really from our trauma. And then how to navigate and drive this amazing instrument we have, and then show up and model a healthier way for our kids. So
that's like critically important. I'm so glad you're doing that. So I'm totally an astrology buff.
Okay.
So I have to know what I almost want to see if I guess but I'm not sure that I can do it. My instinct is that there's some Virgo somewhere. Is there? No?
Not in my
No,
sun
the key
rising
now.
or moon.
So
I
trying
need
to
more
think.
Virgo in my life. I'm way too disorganized.
Well, but I don't, is Pisces somewhere in it?
Pisces
Yes.
moon. Pisces moon.
I have a Pisces rising.
Okay.
Do you have Aquarius anywhere in your?
Mm-mm.
No. Well, what are you? What are your signs?
So my birthday was 2 days ago. So I'm an
Oh,
Aries
happy
sun.
birthday.
Thank you. So I'm fire, sun, and then Cancer rising and Pisces moon. So I'm fire, water, water.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm Cancer with a Pisces rising and an Aquarius moon.
Okay, yeah.
So
I see
the
that.
Pisces and the Cancer obviously have similar desires, but I think astrology is also an interesting tool that is misunderstood very often, and used in some cuckoo ways. But
Yeah.
I met a woman in 1970, and it was a gift to have my chart done by her, and she said that I would meet my soulmate when I was 65, and I thought, no, 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 that's not going to happen. She said, yeah, it's going to happen. And I totally forgot. I thought other people had soulmates. It wouldn't be, and we still are friends. And she's brilliant. And of course, an ex-boyfriend of mine introduced me to my husband.
Wow. I mean, I know
Crazy,
it's
crazy.
crazy, and it's not like
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. But
It's amazing.
but understanding the, like you said, the how small we are and the bigness of everything that's out there, and using all of it in some way is what we're meant to do. I mean, if we can't see that the stars have some impact, or the moon, the power of that moon and the sun, it's intense, right?
I'm so connected to the moon. It's like, oh gosh, like full moons, I'm exhausted. New moons, like bring up some stuff that I have to look at. It's like,
I know. I have calendars. I have calendars everywhere. So we are not starting a project on the full moon, everyone. And I was like, uh-oh, she's gonna say we can't do it because it's a full moon. Like, yeah, you're right.
But look, it's brought you success. You're in rhythm. You're in rhythm with the cosmos.
It totally is. So what is the relationship, do you think, that each of us have to nature? I mean, what really is that? How are we? How should people who live in cities and are in places where nature really is invisible almost? There's a tree planted in some cement, and okay, some dogs pee and poop around it, and that's nature.
Yeah.
But what is that? What is it that human beings should be trying to do to connect with nature, all parts of nature?
Yeah. I mean, to understand that we're like a super organism that is literally part of nature. Like we are more microbes than we are human cells, but
That's great.
We are in community. Like we have however many trillion human cells, and then we have even more microbes that play a function in our body. So we are this kind of community of nature and human combined. To understand that nature has a resonance. So like if we go and put our bare feet in the grass or the ground or the sand, it will literally change the energetic information and resonance of our body. That can help us come back into balance, help us heal. Healing, it's proven to like speed healing and lower inflammation. So nature really does provide a lot. And we were talking about pharmaceuticals earlier, and all the drugs come from nature. So they find a plant, an herb, something in nature, and they test all the compounds, the parts of it for like, why does this work? And then they find the one aspect of the plant that is potent and heals whatever. And so they remove it and then they create a drug. That's like organic chemistry. The problem is in nature, that aspect of the plant that does all the healing doesn't have any negative side effects because it's got the compounds of all the other aspects of the plant in perfect balance and harmony. So once we remove that one thing that heals, that's why we have side effects, because it is out of balance of the way nature intended it. So food, let thy food be medicine, the herbs, like what you're talking about with the shaman earlier, the medicine woman, it's when you find these things in nature, in the way that they were created, it has been created in perfect balance so that it can heal without the negative side effects. So just that, when I learned that about how drugs were made, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. But we need to have the whole
Yeah.
potion in order
Yeah.
to be in harmony and health, and we're kind of taking it out of nature. We're messing with nature in a way. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's so healing. Just the harmonics of being in nature. There's an energetic
Mm.
field that calms the system. So the more, if we do live in a city, the more we can on weekends or take breaks every once in a while and just immerse in nature, that really can recalibrate the system.
Mm. Even just looking at a sunset is
Yeah.
just overwhelming, the color, the power of it.
And
So,
even if you're in a hospital, they've proven you heal like 3 times faster if you can see a tree out your
yeah,
window rather
yes,
than.
yes, yes, I've heard that. And I've seen it actually. I visited someone not too long ago. And as you said that, there was this dinky little New York tree outside, but it was there.
Yeah.
It hung in, it was there.
Uh,
So what do you think about just a final question? And I'm really curious about your thoughts on um, what I think AI is an extraordinary phenomenon that's becoming our reality, and I'm a I have an Aquarius moon, so that with the Pisces and the whole thing going on, I'm in it to win it, and I
mhm.
love it. Um, and I especially love the opportunities that can come around as a result of AI in medicine. Do you have any thoughts about anything in specific or anything you've heard about that seems promising?
Oh gosh, specific in medicine. I mean, I'm like you. There's so much that I'm learning about its
Mm,
capabilities. And I think, as we talk about this disconnection from nature, to enter into this AI world, it's a slippery slope.
yeah,
But also it's the machine learns. It's artificial intelligence. It learns what we feed it. So I think there is a world where tremendously efficient and capable solutions will come from it if we are teaching it in the right way
yeah,
and kind of in alignment with nature, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So I don't even know what I'm saying. I just know that it's a because it's learning, and then of course it's doing so much more efficiency for us than we could do in a short amount of
Mm,
time. There's so much potential. We just have to be really in integrity in the way we're teaching this,
yeah,
to
yeah.
find solutions. So I mean, I'm more excited just because I'm in trust that there's a higher intelligence at play here, and we're just in the flow. So I know that there's a lot of fear around, like, oh, if it gets in the wrong hands, or AI is going to take over and human jobs and everything else. But yeah, I think the potential is really promising and exciting.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I want there to be guardrails, of course, but you know, wow, what could happen is really amazing. And I've been interviewing some people, this woman especially, who is right in the front of stem cell and using AI. And oh my God, it's amazing. Okay, my last question is, what sign is your daughter?
Oh, that's a good. I actually don't know her rising and her moon, but she's I have it written down somewhere, but she's a
Yeah.
Gemini. She's
Oh,
a May
she is.
22nd. Yeah.
She
And my
is.
mom's a Gemini. And my
Yeah. So I'm married to a Gemini, and my dog is a Gemini, and I'm surrounded by Geminis. It's an interesting thing because you would think with Cancer, how does that, and Pisces, how does that work with Gemini? But there is something that's very electric that kind of sparks the Gemini Pisces part of you. You're on fire anyway. So,
yeah.
but
Well,
that's
my dad and my husband are Pisces. My daughter and my mom are Gemini. So I'm like, there's some
ah
sort of clear
oh,
thing
that's
here. Yeah.
interesting. Very
So,
interesting. Oh, well, that's a nice spiritual environment we have
yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of
Anyway,
learnings.
yeah.
But
Well, I am so happy that we had this time together, and I hope we can connect again at some time. If you're ever in New York, it would be great.
absolutely.
I really enjoyed this. I look forward to what you're working on next. I think it's great. It's really, I think a docu-series would be unbelievable.
Yeah. Thank you. And we're also in conjunction creating a platform that is going to use AI, so in a positive way, to create this container where people feel guided on their healing journey. So people come to me for resources. Usually they get diagnosed with autoimmune or cancer, and I have to piecemeal resources together.
Yeah.
So I have this amazing team, and we're creating this platform where, the first iteration is just nervous system regulation tools, but using AI, we're going to learn how people digest information, and we're going to personalize these healing journeys and hold their hand and give them everything they need to heal.
Well, we have to keep posted so I can tell people about it, and we can let them know what you're doing. That is so great. Thank you so much. That's really so cool. Yeah. And what a pleasure speaking with you, and enjoy Hawaii.
Thank you. Mahalo. Yeah, so nice. It was an honor hanging with you, and we'll see you in New York.
Take care. Okay. Yes, I would love it. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, press follow and leave a comment after you listen to the podcast. Thanks.